Hello friends, and welcome back to the show. Today we are talking all about AI, customer service, and the convergence in e-commerce. And we're going to debunk a lot of common myths, give you a playbook for how AI is being used to improve customer service, and also talk a lot about where the future of AI and customer service is headed in e-commerce. Joining me to unpack all of this is Lisa Popovici, the CMO and co-founder of Siena AI, a platform that is really pioneering this way forward for the convergence of AI and customer service in e-commerce. So we're going to dive into all of these topics and more. We're going to give you a playbook to improve your NPS scores, your CSAT scores, and reduce first response time. And then we're also going to really talk about a lot of workflows and things that you can be doing creatively to help to make your CS team's life a hell of a lot easier. So all of this and more will be discussed in today's episode. Can't wait to dive into that. Lastly, this show, as always, is brought to you by Caro, the #1 collaborative commerce platform for D2C's best brands. And with that, I present to you Lisa Popovici of Siena AI. All right, Lisa, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's good to see you. I'm excited for this conversation today. It's funny, you and I go back a while, although we never really formally connected. We have some history, actually. So I was, for those who don't know, I was at Tone. Lisa, you were, building Cardloop at the time. And, we were kind of frenemies, if you will, I guess. I had a lot of admiration for what you guys were doing. Great product, Andre as well. The team over there, fantastic people. But it's fun to be not on competitive ground now. I say it's fun to be on friendly ground now. So a little bit of history there, but I'm really excited to chat with you today and talk about customer service and AI and what's going on over there.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So this is a topic that I am a little bit passionate about, I guess you could say. I started my career actually as a brand marketer working alongside an amazing CX leader, Phil Shastri at Autobrush, and got to really see having a lot of respect for just what CS teams have to go through on a day out, day in basis. And then getting to go over to Tone and Wonderment and getting to kind of work more on the software side of things. I've often said that the customer service or experience team is like the lifeline of any e-commerce business, and they don't get enough love. And I think we're starting to see changes with that. Like Jessa Feastable, Zoe Kahn, Eli Weiss. A lot of people are evangelizing this more and more now. But we're going to be talking more about today the role that AI is playing in customer service and how we can turn this into a superpower for our own e-commerce businesses. So Lisa, I know you're pioneering a lot of this over at Siena, and I really want to just kind of let you share with us what's going on, what's developing, all that stuff. But I guess to get us started, you help countless brands to improve customer service. So talk to me about what you're seeing right now in the consumer market.
Maybe start with a quick background, maybe what our mission is. So
Sure.
what we are aiming at Siena, what we're working towards is really enabling those exceptional customer experiences to be available anywhere and to be able to help brands create really unique experiences and also unlock that human potential that's being trapped into that repetitive work over and over again. And I feel like when it comes to what I'm seeing across the board, maybe we can start with challenges and then go into, maybe how has customer service changed and then what are customers, solving with AI, with generative AI more specifically. So
Sure.
overall, what I'm seeing is when it comes to a brand, they mostly want to get profitable. They want to, keep costs low. They want to have a easier time of finding, training, or managing people. So these are, the top three main concerns or challenges that I've come across in my conversations with brand owners. When it comes to customer experience, folks, or leaders, managers, mostly what I've been seeing is repetitive work, a lack of empathic, robotic responses due to maybe they are just a small team. They cannot deal with that huge backlog that they, see every Monday morning, especially if they don't work in the weekends. Frustrated customers, long response time, resolution times. We've even had a customer that I've been recently speaking with, onboarded, and they are having a 3-day first response time, which is pretty crazy. So obviously that's a big goal that you can achieve fast with AI.
Mhm.
long QA processes, all of these things that they are trying to optimize with AI. And also, when you look at a leader, you probably or like a founder, you probably don't want your team to be spending time you to find your team spending time every day on just copy pasting macros or doing that unproductive work when they could they have so much potential. They could be allocating their resources towards most important areas of the business, like even driving more sales, right? So I
Totally.
feel like these are some of the areas that they are looking to optimize.
I think it's interesting when you say that too. Like a lot of the monotony and the mundaneness of like, I'll pick on like Wismo tickets, for example. Where is my order? Like I wonderment. Like we talk to so many people who are just like, my eyes will be bleeding if I have to answer the 30,000th Wismo ticket this year. It's just like these common issues that like could be resolved, but like I know there's some kind of, even like not picking on just that, but it's like there is a little bit of hesitancy, I think, for some brands to be like, full down the macro path. There's no empathy. There's no kind of like, you're not kind of listening and having some of those moments that like they're really opening up to you in this very like every customer. I think this is interesting about consumer behavior, but we've been trained to kind of come to every like, when I reach out to a brand, to have like this kind of like, it's a boxing match mentality. I've got to like prove my case. I'm angry. It's like the worst day for me. And like when I just get that canned kind of macroed response, it can work for sure, but it also is like there's so much you're leaving on the table. And I know for like CX leaders, they're always thinking about this of like, what is that middle ground where we don't have to be in the trenches kind of answering these, very mundane things with the same response, but we also want to have like that conversation, that candor, building the relationship. Like that's the make or break moments when you reach out to the brand and you're expecting this boxing match and suddenly it's a great experience and you're like, whoa, like that was just so much better than I thought it was going to be. So it's interesting you say that. I feel like the more I've talked with CX leaders, I've heard the same kind of, challenges, even profitability as well. So I'm excited to chat really how you guys are thinking about using generative AI to kind of solve some of these challenges and actually, lift up the CX team even more. So how did you get into this AI space then? And what was like kind of the aha moment for you when you're like, let's go full in on Siena?
Yeah, yeah. So I feel like, the mission that we're working towards really started from our days as Shopify merchants. So Andre and I were Shopify merchants, a few years back before starting to build software. And we really understood the value of outstanding customer service and, in a way, experienced on our own, brands that we were running, what it takes to actually have outstanding customer service and what are the downsides of not providing that. And we always thought that there must be a better way, even when we were, running card loop. There must be a better way to do automation. There must be a better way to have that self-serve experience as a consumer, to not have to always wait for a person. If you just want to, have your problem solved quickly and just to have a nice interaction, a very empathic and on brand, and just like someone who really, cares about your problem. We always thought that there must be a better way. So I feel like everything has been in a way like linked in our journey. And even when you look at how automation has been done so far, you probably have rule-based automation or chatbots. These are the options that we've been offered so
Hmm.
far. But if you look at that, there's a big disconnect. Chatbots used to promise us the moon, but we didn't really get much, and we've just witnessed a lot of repetitive grind customer service agents enduring answering the same questions over and over again just because the chatbot is not able to do so. And it's just like I feel like it's such a tremendous under utilization of the human potential. And what we're doing at Siena basically with how we started the entire, even like thought process from day one is we want to build an agent that is the closest thing to a human and can actually perform 80% of a customer service inquiries. They're really like bridge the gap between that 20%, which even chatbots can do or rule-based automation can do, up to that 80%, which is what most tools are not doing today. And I'm talking about the more complex scenarios, such as transactions like order related concerns, or subscription related aspects like managing a subscription. Like, why would you put a subscriber through those like unnecessary steps of like logging into their account and doing all of those things, manually, when they can just text you on, iMessage, hey, can you pause? I'm traveling, and that's it. You can have it done by a very intelligent and smart AI. So it's like, even myself as a consumer, I want that experience. So I feel like we wanted something that really feels like it's human, and it's the closest thing to how us customer service agents and teams operate today, and can really work hand in hand in sync with agents. It definitely, there's a lot of use cases still where there's a need for that hybrid model, where humans need to step in, maybe do some extra troubleshooting or dive deeper into a specific use case, or even like maybe someone just really wants to pick up the phone and talk to someone from the company. So those are all things that we've thought about, and that's why I feel like we've been able to make such, tremendous progress in such a short amount of time, and with such a lean distributed team.
Totally. I mean, you guys have, I see you everywhere now. It seems like around, just all the folks in the CX space, everyone in the e-com space talking about what you guys are building. It's super cool to see. And I know it's really special that you guys started as merchants, so you understand that pain in a little bit of a different way. I think you're building solutions to solve those problems. So hats off to you guys for doing that. And then also, I think you mentioned like getting 80% of that out of the way, or like that frontline sort of like, you're really wanting to ensure that these opportunities, that like when someone expects that response, they're, like we're very, consumers are becoming more and more like quick-minded, I guess, in a way that they really want things now. It's like, so I think being able to do that faster, having a great experience, not with a chatbot that's got like 5 different decision trees, but can actually, have empathy, think about these things, and then give like a relevant response. I was just talking to Gabby at Smarter, what they're doing with his subscriptions, and kind of how they're thinking about, they're not using AI for this, but they're still thinking about those kind of steps of like, how would the consumer think? How do we get an experience where they don't have to talk to us or wait for us? It's all just right there. I love all that stuff. And I think too, it reminds me, when I started doing email marketing, like we implemented like Octane AI chatbots like 2018, 2019, and they were like not, I love Octane, nothing against them, but it was just funny to see like what we were building and how limited it really was. And then flash forward 5 years later, and now like we've got so much more technology at our hands. It's just amazing. I'd love to talk about some of the use cases and what merchants are doing with Siena, but before we get into that, I think one of my thoughts that I hear a lot is like, is AI going to take over people's jobs? Is AI going to eliminate the customer experience team? So maybe you can just demystify some common myths about AI in customer service, and kind of set the stage for like how you see the world in which this coexisting really does kind of happen.
Yeah, yeah, I think this is one of the biggest myths in customer experience or customer service, that AI will take our jobs. I completely disagree. And even if I were not to have, not to build an AI customer service platform, I would have the same opinion. Basically, it's exactly what Mark Andreessen wrote in that Twitter thread. I'm not sure if you've read it. It's very good. I really enjoyed that long thread. Basically, he cuts right through the noise. He's like referring to that lump of labor fallacy, basically that myth that if there's too much work and the machines get a piece, we humans are left with the crumbs, which I'm not at all in sync of how this actually works. So if you look historically, we are being told a different story. So each wave of technology hasn't really left us jobless. I feel like it actually made us more productive. It opened new opportunities, new roles. And I feel like AI should definitely not be a plot twist in this saga. It's going to be exactly the same. We're already seeing a lot of new jobs being created, even conversational designer or prompt engineer or bot
Mhm.
manager, like all of these super exciting jobs, which in a way um, they force us to upscale, right? We cannot, um, live our lives with the same set of skills. That's my own personal opinion. I feel like every single day should be a learning day, and this applies exactly with embracing AI into our lives. I feel like in customer experience, it's only going to allow us to engage with customers like we've never been able before. Take more load, quick responses, super personalized interactions. Sienna never sleeps, never gets tired, never gets frustrated. If a customer is frustrated, she still like will come even more, eager to solve that. Round the clock availability. So it's I feel like with AI, brands have the opportunity to really finally actually turn customer service into a revenue, generating channel. And I feel like for those folks behind the scenes, which are, the customer service agents, the managers, they'll just get to move up to, strategy, creative roles where they can really make a difference. Maybe you've always been a customer service representative who, always needed to drill down tier one tickets, but now you actually have the opportunity to, I don't know, transition to a much more interesting role within your company that you've always secretly wanted to do. And of course, also like learning new skills like, prompt engineering and learning how to work with AI to manage tools that are just getting started. I feel like we are just scratching the surface with what's about to come.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think we're just scratching the surface, and it's a great call out too. I think like giving you room to kind of like I hear a lot that like a lot of CX teams and leaders are like, if I just had more time to do this, if I just had more time to do that, and like suddenly like you're getting that time back. And there's been a lot of technological advancements along the way that have helped, but like the more and more you do that, there's all the different avenues, and as CX gets more involved into like the retention side of the business and the acquisition side of the business, like there's just so much that like the freeing up the time can help. But I think it's really interesting too because we've been hearing this narrative being beat since like the cart loop and tone days, and then attentive getting concierge and all this stuff that like conversational drives sales. And being able to have conversations with customers to provide a great experience, like all the things, like this is just like themes. I think we're really still early innings and all of that stuff in e-commerce, but it's exciting nonetheless to really see that. One of the other things that we didn't touch on, but I want to ask about with common myths is that does AI mean less human or less empathetic responses? I hear this a lot, so I just love to hear you maybe kind of give your two cents on what you think about that.
Yeah. I actually think that the answer is none. So with Sienna, for example, the notion that AI, leads to less empathetic interaction is pretty much debunked. I mean, if you're having an experience, an interaction with Sienna, you'll understand why. So I feel like first of all, because of how much, the AI technology has evolved, now with generative AI, you can basically set up your we have this, feature which is one of the most fundamental features inside of Sienna called Persona Studio. So you can literally, design your agent to match your best performing human agent in the company, or to match
Mm,
your, ideal, I don't know, brand personality that really matches the brand identity, matches, everything that you stand for as a company. You can add, different kind of attributes. You can add different kind of instructions for that, agent to follow. So that leads to, the most empathetic and cool and fun and like interesting conversations that I've ever seen in customer service, to be honest. And rather than offering, canned or generic responses, really you have a tailored interaction with each individual because there will never be two similar responses. So even if
mm,
you have now three customers asking the same question on the same channel, Siena will provide different responses crafted uniquely for each. Obviously, at the core, it will have the main, information that it needs to deliver, the main policy or whatever. But it
Sure.
feels like, a human just wrote it on the spot, and you just, as a consumer, you feel like, oh my gosh, like I feel so good that these guys are actually, they really care about me at this level, that they, really care about me saying, oh, that it's my daughter's birthday or something like that, because it never misses anything in the actual, the entire, it's very contextual. It has memory, it
Totally.
has, it's super intelligent. And also what debunks this myth is the fact that you can have that natural fluid conversation. So it's the opposite of having a chatbot interaction. You actually just put your question, get your answer, question, answer. So it's like having, like us discussing now. It's only getting better.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bunch of other stuff.
It's fascinating. I mean, and I love that, it's obviously you said it's listening to everything. It's taking in all of the things, like even CS agents are fantastic, but I think like they might be on their 50th ticket in the last like 2 hours and miss that one detail that suddenly now like made that customer upset, or they missed an opportunity. Like there's just like little things that I think that the listening and it improving over time, learning the brand, the voice, all that stuff. It's amazing. I just like, I kind of get really excited by where this is going to continue to head for brands as we look forward. I wanted to now ask about like use cases. So you've mentioned like 80%, that's focused like 80% or so. What kind of use cases are you seeing Siena most effective for? And then like where does CX teams still step in? Maybe just draw the lines for us and kind of paint the picture a little bit better there.
Yeah, there's a bunch of use cases that you can automate, but I like to split them into two buckets. This is my pitch during demos. This is so funny. I've been saying this so much, but basically we have the information bucket and the action bucket. With the information, think of anything that's an FAQ, a piece of policy, or a product question. That's easy for Siena because you just have to feed it the data or give the instructions of what she should, deliver. But then also, Siena can take action. So we have a lot of integrations with platforms like Shopify, Recharge, even Smarter. We announced it last week on social, Skio, Stay, all of these popular subscription platforms, including Yotpo for reviews. So through these integrations, which are extremely seamless, they are one click, literally in minutes, you can connect everything. Siena can actually take action by, for example, going into Shopify, having all of those customer data, order data, information, and then it can perform, tracking orders or canceling or changing shipping addresses, all of these transactional repetitive stuff. When it comes to subscriptions, for example, if you look at Recharge, we have, the ability to cancel or reactivate or pause or change the frequency or change the, email address from the subscription. So all of these, items that usually customer asks on a daily basis, Siena can perform autonomously. There are obviously some use cases. For example, when we see a very smooth collaboration between Siena and agents. So, for example, if there's a damaged item, usually how brands do it today, they first instruct Siena, always ask for a picture. So, the customer actually proves that they got a damaged item. So we don't just refund them for nothing. So obviously, after Siena gets that information and the customer sends the picture, the agent needs to, step in, apply their human judgment and actually see, hey, is this picture, valid? Do we actually need to send a replacement or issue a refund? So this is a good use case where this hybrid model is necessary.
Those are all great use cases. Yeah. And I think it's like mixing that hybrid use case that gets really interesting, because you're kind of getting a little bit of just you're letting the agent really step in when they need to, and they can provide that response. They're in that moment. They're not having to wait even for necessarily maybe the photo to be submitted. There's just like, it's speeding up that process a little bit and making it just an easier experience. But I love the subscription management stuff, all that transactional stuff, all the things that like, I know from like a customer perspective, you think are really easy. You're like, oh, well, can't they just like quickly change my address, or can't they just do this? Or like, it's just like that instant experience, much, much better. but also for the brand. I love it. Just it's a great win-win, I think, for both sides. Are there specific brands or industries that you think do benefit the most from using AI in customer service? Could like any e-commerce merchant leverage it and see wins? Like, where are you seeing most success around?
Yeah. I think everyone benefits from AI to some extent. Obviously, depends on, the size, the volume. We usually, have some recommendations on when it's best to start with AI. But I feel like every brand that has a high volume of repetitive inquiries and find their customer service team spending time every day doing the same type of work, they should definitely look into AI. But usually, maybe, it's recommended to wait until you hit at least 1,000 tickets per month, and that's on the lower end. Obviously, as you have higher volumes, it's even more recommended.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. It makes sense. It's like, even with SMS marketing, it's like you don't want to, if you have like 5 customers, probably not the right time for you and your business to be
Yeah.
thinking about that. But as you scale up, for sure. How are you evaluating success with Siena? Like, what kind of KPIs do brands look at to define success with a tool like this?
hmm So there's a few KPIs. So this is one of my questions that I have in my customer conversations, and even before they actually get on board. Like, what is your success criteria? What is it that you want to see from Sienna, after the first 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, and beyond? And obviously, we also have our recommendations, but I like to hear exactly from them. Like, just work and craft a very unique automation strategy for each individual customer. So most of them, they look at first response time, resolution time, CSAT score. So these are the three the most important for every single brand that I've talked with. They also want the 24/7 availability because maybe they only work 9 to 5, or maybe they do not work weekends. So they just wake up on a Monday morning with a huge backlog and a headache. So that's also something that they want to avoid. These are some of the first metrics that are actually being impacted in the first 30 days at Sienna. So you can see these things quickly, the response time being dropped tremendously by around 90%, resolution time, like pretty much the same. You can see because Sienna integrates with all help desks, Sienna takes the lead agent seat inside of the help desk. So you can track its performance exactly like you track it for your team. You can see even what reviews had Sienna received from, each customer that she interacted with, CSAT scores, all of that, even ticket conversion rate. But then inside of Sienna, we've actually introduced a few metrics, key North Star, that we're also internally tracking. So is the automation rate, obviously. We have companies like Kitsch who've already achieved 60%. They are doing an amazing job. They've only been with us like 2 to 3 months. We have, Simple Modern. I think they are also around, 60 or 70%. So it's really cool to see that. But also a very important metric that we've introduced is the alignment score. So because Sienna was built from the ground up to actually solve customers' problems, not to deflect tickets, we are looking very closely at what is the actual performance of the automations of the responses, how accurate are they, how relevant, and are they actually solving customers' problems? So this is the alignment score. And usually if you're below 90%, then it means, okay, just go back and do some fine tuning because there's room for improvement. If you're above 90, that means, okay, you have a pretty solid, automation strategy in place. So these are some metrics that all of them are tracking.
That's awesome. Yeah, great brand examples too, and great brands to be working with, I think. But it's also really interesting, some of those metrics and how quick they start to actually improve. Like, I think this is music to a lot of CX teams' ears, honestly. And I was curious. Yeah, you mentioned working alongside the help desk. It's not cannibalizing in one way or another. It's actually just enhancing the existing workflows that are in place. But to like being able to look at that and then optimize it continually. Do you find that it's just, I've seen as I've worked with AI in my, day in kind of day out here at Caro, like the more I use it, the more I'm teaching things, it's getting better and better. Like, Does that kind of seem to be a theme as well with Siena? As you train, it gets more embedded, you give the feedback, all that stuff, it gets better over time as well. So actually we're continuing to optimize over time. Is that kind of seem to be a
Yeah,
theme amongst merchants you're working with?
absolutely. Yeah, it only gets better. It only gets better, and it the I like to give this analogy as, imagine Sienna is, your new hire that
Hmm.
you do have to give it some room for to ramp up, right? Exactly like any other employee. So you just have to nurture it, give it some love, give it some training, show it how you do things, show it how she should do things, and then you'll see, taking more and more responsibility, doing a way better job, gets embedded, gets to know your use cases, your customers. It really will understand exactly, okay, this is the company that I represent, these are the customers that I'm speaking with, and just will do a way better job, like
Sure.
day over day. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
It's a little bit, it's exactly like, when you're working with a new team member, you have to give it more attention in the beginning, and then you'll pretty much, you can let them fly and do their work.
Yeah, I mean it's that's a great analogy. The ramp up, getting someone onboarded. There's some work up time too, even with the CS team bringing on new agents, for example. Like there's a lot of learning to happen, but being able to use some of the technology that we've had advanced, over the last couple of years here with AI, like it's just a total no brainer. I think in that respect.
Welcome to Caro, where the world's top brands and creators come together to sell each other's products through cross-store selling. You can join Caro as an online retailer, product supplier, or both. As a retailer or creator, you can sell other amazing products on your online store, allowing you to quickly expand your catalog and increase your average order value, all without the upfront costs of investment in new inventory. You simply sell more product and collect a profit. As a supplier, Caro opens up an entirely new sales channel, making your products available to be sold on thousands of other top brands and top creators' stores. Orders are sent right to their Shopify order queue, making fulfillment super easy. You're always in control as a supplier, choosing what products to make available to the network, what retailers you work with, and the margin that works best for your business. It's the biggest no-brainer in the history of e-commerce. There are literally thousands of brands and creators. Our team is ready to help you find a perfect pairing to your brand. What are you waiting for? Join Caro and start selling more together.
One question I gotta ask. I think you've said the answer is no, but just maybe if you could speak to it again, is do you think there will be a time in which AI fully replaces customer service in e-commerce or retail, just in general?
I don't think so. I don't think there will be a time. There will always be the need for humans, because if you think about, like, the AI is just a tool. Like, who is actually managing that tool? Who is giving it instructions, guidelines? Who is showing it the way? Obviously, AI will take more and more responsibility, right? Like, we are going to see more use cases being enabled, and not only in customer service, even, for us, like, having an executive assistant, maybe, 50% of executive assistant job could be done with AI, right?
Hmm.
But at the end of the day, it's just a tool. So we need people to actually manage the tool and to take care of the complex, you know, um, interactions that really require that, like, hey, hopping on a phone, hopping on a call, hopping on Zoom, and just like putting a face to um to the name, to the
Yeah,
brand.
no, totally. Yeah, I share the same sentiment as you. I think I listened to a couple podcasts with Mark Andreessen talking about AI as well, and I think it's interesting to see like his takes on it. So anyone who's like kind of scared of things, like I'd go listen to him, or the thread that you mentioned, I think is
Yeah.
great as well. Um, so I hope everyone goes and looks at Sienna after this if they're not already. But for folks who maybe are just like, I don't have time to implement a new tool right now, but I'm interested in AI and I want to at least see what it can do for my customer service. What's a use case or two that we could use with AI to improve our customer service workflow like today?
Yeah. So I think the best way to start is just like creating your ChatGPT account and just using that. Because you are going to be introduced into how to collaborate with such a tools, right? Like into prompt engineering. Like in order to get an outcome, you have to give a prompt, but in order to get a better outcome, you have to improve that prompt. So you just like you learn a lot by just using ChatGPT. And I feel like if you're a small, company, maybe you don't have a lot of volume, just, try to go through ChatGPT before you actually send a response or answer to a customer, you to see like how, it will be radically better by just using that. So that's where I would start and just educate yourself, right? To see what's out there, to understand, yeah, I feel like just bridge, fill out your gaps.
Totally. Yeah, I think like getting started and getting your feet wet there is a great, exercise to learn. And like, I think I've learned a lot from using AI in my daily workflow as well, just of like ways to maybe think about things differently or my writing, all the things that like you can kind of do. Also having another set of eyes on something, also can be like good. But I think also it's just like, it's a tool that nonetheless you have to learn, you have to get better at it over time. Outside of AI, just customer service related, Q4 is rapidly approaching here. And so if folks do nothing else from like this discussion today to improve their customer service, like what is a tip that you might recommend we get in check as soon as possible?
So if they're not looking into AI.
Yeah, just customer service. It could be AI, it could not. Just like what's your final, I guess, sort of like if Lisa leaves one tip, what would that be?
Well, I mean, now is the best time to start implementing AI because Q4 is about to hit and you want to make sure you have not only you, but also your team and your customers have a smoother experience and not like, be overwhelmed because like most of us are overwhelmed during Black Friday, Cyber Monday. I would definitely look into AI. But if you're not looking into AI, maybe just go back at the fundamentals and just put some clear processes and systems in place. So, your team just follows those and you stay organized and prioritize your customers because they are the ones that matter, especially during these holidays. Everyone wants a super, quick instant response. They want to make sure their orders get on time. So, just prioritize and go back to the fundamentals.
Yeah, totally. I think it's a great call out. I think like for me, like the checklist on the CX side is like, I definitely think get an AI solution in place if you can. Get a transactional solution in place to have like order tracking, like having a tracking page on site, all that stuff. And then also just like having your team all kind of like know what the hell is going on across everything. Like I was just in a panel last week and they're talking about like retention marketers. They're like, oh, we didn't even know like what CX was doing and they didn't even know what we were doing. And we were sending out emails and customers didn't know. It was a disaster. So even getting on the same page, like as fundamental and basic as it is, can go a long way. Well, Lisa, this has been a blast. I want to, before we end, do a rapid fire section with you. We've had folks doing this with us for a couple episodes now. I believe Gabby from Smarter holds the record. I think she got 7 questions in under 2 minutes. I'm going to put 2 minutes on the clock. I'm going to see how many D2C questions we can get through. You actually might end up beating them all. We'll see. And then we'll see where things shake out. So I'll put 2 minutes on the clock and we'll get started.
Cool.
Okay. Who is a must follow on D2C Twitter or LinkedIn that not enough people are following right now?
So I have another answer here. Basically, I mostly learn from biographies like or books like Steve Jobs or the collected writings of Jeff Bezos or there's the autobiography of Ben Franklin. So I feel like I just learn more from books or podcasts than social media. I spend too much time, so I try to not.
Let's get some balance. I love it. What's the best educational resource around for e-commerce right now?
The 2% podcast.
That's the right answer. What is the best use case for AI in e-commerce?
I have to say customer experience.
I knew you were going to say that. If you could have one gigantic billboard anywhere with anything on it, metaphorically speaking, to get a message out to everyone in the world about customer service, what would it be and why?
I would put Siena, we get humans, not tickets. because this emphasizes the fact that every query isn't just a ticket; it's actually a genuine concern or issue, and also it really captures the essence of having those personal, meaningful interaction, regardless of the fact that it's AI or it's a human who is speaking with you.
I love that. That's a great one. Give me 2 D2C brands that should form a partnership or collaboration.
I'm obsessed with Hue chocolate. And also, I've recently tried Truvani, their protein, and I feel like the combination would be great for a protein chocolate bar.
Totally. That sounds fantastic. What brand do you derive the most inspiration from?
I think Apple.
Apple. Okay, we got 6 seconds. Best shipping moment you've ever had as a consumer?
My acai bowl, which got delivered yesterday in 15 minutes, and Amazon same day delivery.
Yeah, those are the power of consumer shipping is getting quite insane now with Amazon and instant delivery with stuff like that. We got through them all.
Yeah.
Wow, we're a little bit over, but I'll give it to you. We write the rules here, so I think you're at the top of the leaderboard now. So Gabby, sorry, you're down one notch now.
I'm very competitive.
That's great. Okay, so what's as we wrap up here, what's next for you in the Siena team? Like, are you guys launching any upcoming features you can talk about, or partnerships that you're excited about? Like, what's going on for you guys?
Yeah, there's a lot of exciting announcements coming. I cannot disclose too much, but yeah, a lot of like partnership announcements, and we're continuing our mission to, build this autonomous agent. Like really, we're collaborating very closely with our customers, and they are telling us, hey, we need this. Hey, can Siena do this? So we're also like combining our, vision of, how we feel like, Siena should look like, how this space should look like, but also we take a lot of feedback and requests from our customers. There's a lot of things coming. I feel like we've just scratched the surface.
Totally. Well, I think that's all exciting stuff, and I think a great theme for this episode. We're just scratching the surface, I think, of where things will go. I think it's a great place to end. Lisa, it's been a blast having you on. Thank you so much for just talking about where things are at, but where we're headed. Rooting for you guys a lot. This is such an awesome use case, and I think gonna really, do so much good for the community at large. So, wishing you guys the best of Q4 and beyond. And we'll have to have you guys on the show again next year to talk about, what's evolved in the space. This is something I'm following very closely. So can't wait to see where things go.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks for having me, Blake.
Of course, thank you. Thanks so much for watching today's episode. I hope you got 2% better for watching, and if you haven't already, consider giving this video a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel so you never miss another episode. We have a variety of e-com topics to talk about this season that's going to get you 2% better each week across a variety of topics. Also, if you want exclusive content not covered in these episodes that's super tactical, head over to getcaro.com/podcast. You'll find full episode recaps, transcripts, and so much more content that we don't have time to cover in these episodes. Lastly, if you want to continue on the journey right now, I encourage you to do so. I will link to a other episode right here. You can take advantage of that. Click just right there, and that'll take you to that episode. And with that, I'll see you next week on 2% the podcast.